we have a minor league baseball team in South Bend called the South Bend Cubs. Obviously, it's affiliated with the Chicago Cubs, but it's like deeply affiliated, meaning like they have other places to go first. This is way down the list. I don't even think it's in the same level as the Grand Rapids teams.
The Whitecaps.
Yeah. Well, no, they do play the Whitecaps, but I think it's just because of, proximity more than anything else. Regardless. So before it was the Cubs, it was the South Bend Silverhawks. Don't know what the name Silverhawks implied. I guess there was something about the Silverhawks going way back in the past. There was something to do in the town.
Based on the cartoon, right?
Yeah, Tallyhook. Boy, that was partly metal, partly real. Silverhawks. Boy, that was such a goofy theme song. But they looked amazing, except for the dude that played the guitar.
Yep.
Bluegrass ruined the entire show.
Worst character since Orko.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just like instantly annoying. And it's like, why? Why would you, of all the people, I guess he was the pilot, but everybody else was like, oh yeah. Even the copper kid who like whistled instead of speaking, it was like he was some sort of alien creature that's how they communicated. But yeah, Bluegrass, Steel Heart and Steel Will. So before there were the Cubs, there were the Silverhawks. The Silverhawks had a mascot called Swoop. They are to retire that character at the end of this season, this baseball season.
Take him out the back and shoot him.
Yeah. You got a lame wing, Silverhawk. It's time for you to...
Your time has come.
Yeah, we're going to have to put you down. Yeah, it's like, we first give just an injection to help it get some sleep, and then...
Or mascot.
Yeah. So the bank is tied tightly to the as a sponsor of the South Bend Cubs. So we thought, it would be great to show our connection to the community, our involvement, our ties to the history and everything, by having kind of a retirement party for that mascot. And I'm thinking,
there's nothing else better to do. It's
yeah. It's like you can't, a gold watch doesn't fit on its wing, but we'll figure something else out. But, we offer a bunch of different services, and so like wealth management and retirement planning. So it all kind of ties in anyway. We get all like, yeah, this is going to be a great idea. Oh yeah, this would be perfect. It would be a good way to kind of tie us to the community and make us all feel like, we're all together. Then I realized, when do they want to air this video that we're creating? August 25th, a Sunday, I believe. So I'm thinking like, okay, that's fine. That's his official farewell is that day, that night, or that day is like, that'll be it for the South Bend Silverhawks Swoop mascot. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. We just kind of throwing this off to the side, like, it's not that important. It's a nice to have, but it's not a required item, and I wasn't really that invested in it. I had a bunch of ideas. We threw some things together, and we've got it, I think, in a good spot, but it's still going to look like homemade. It's not as well choreographed as I would prefer. Mm-hmm. It dawned on me the other day that the company is having a company-wide picnic at the baseball field on August 25th. The same day that they are going to retire that mascot. So this thing went from being like a minor little throwaway video to, holy crap, the entire business is going to be out there staring at the screen as we play this thing up. And it's like, oh crap.
Right. To an audience of thousands.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, oopsie, that's not going to go over well. So now all of a sudden I'm more vested in it than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like legitimately like it would air one time on the big screen in the baseball stadium saying, thanks for the many years of service, Swoop. That kind of
Swoop, there it is.
There
you go. You can have that one for free,
And then it turned out that it's like, oh crap. No, it's like, from the CEO, the chairman, the vice presidents, executive vice, everybody.
You should have the new mascot eat the old mascot.
Yeah, he just ravaged. There's like the Cubs bear climbs up a tree, steals the eggs.
Right, yeah.
Swoop comes down. Just
Big
one
battle.
Yeah. Talons versus claws. 2 mascots enter, 1 mascot leaves.
And it ain't Swoop.
Yeah, it's all Thunderdome like. There's weapons all over this cage. Okay, everybody, time to retire.
Get your animation team on this.
Yep.
Moms are covering the eyes of their children, because it's all blood.
Feathers everywhere, feathers. It's like somebody burst open a feather mattress.
You're listening to And This Is Why I Love Comics.
Andy and Mike!
Pieces
You thought they
everywhere.
smell bad on the outside. And welcome to another episode of This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm somebody.
I am somebody. At least my mom thinks I am.
And that's Mike. We're here recording. It's your first time. You're in for a treat. I think this is 3rd episode, 4th season. Don't quote me on that. But, we're on a roll, really. But, we're recording again tonight.
Yeah.
And we're happy to do it.
As we're getting older, we're just happy to be semi-regular.
We're kind of breathing. We're kind of constipated, kind of not.
Oh, my pancreas.
We're the podcast of cantankerous old men who read comic books, role play, and talk about our lives. Tonight's episode is finally Babe Talk. And I don't mean Cindy Crawford. I mean, I can't think of a contemporary person, but
I'm gonna say Cindy Crawford. My eyes. This is where the video would have been perfect because I'm
right. She's still alive.
You might as well say like somebody like Twiggy or somebody from the 60s.
I'm
Raquel
not talking
Welch.
about Raquel Welch.
Whatever Andy Dufresne had in the Shawshank. Even at current.
Right. No, we're talking about the best artist brackets ever that we did. I don't know. It seems like a year ago. A little background on that. Last year we talked about ranking comic book artists and kind of in a March Madness format. And then we set it up. We had 9 judges. We ran through 112 of comic book artists. Of course, we didn't get to every single artist, but we threw a bunch on a spreadsheet and we had them fight each other. The judges picked their favorite, moved on to the next round. The winner was decided. Now, overall, I think it worked out pretty good. It took a little longer than I wanted. And then, when our schedule gets a little disrupted and it takes even longer, like we're just now talking about the winners, and really it's been over for like 4 or 5 months. So apologize for that. Maybe I'll put this earlier in our loop and then it'll seem just like yesterday,
Yeah.
when you're listening to them down the line. Overall, Mike, what'd you think about the bracket in general?
The nature of them not being like predispositioned towards a certain individual winning, meaning that it was like truly randomly assigned. Like you may have the best artists of all time right next to each other and you have to make a choice. And that was like right out of the gates. And it's like this person didn't even get a chance, but they should have climbed much higher if they were like weighted. Like when you think about the NCAA type bracket setup, it's like this is the number 1 team and they're going to be paired against the worst.
Right. They're not paired against the other number 1 team. First round.
Not right out of the gates. So theoretically, the number 1 should be able to continue on. But it was really a lot of fun, though, all in all. And some of them I was not aware of at all. Truthfully, there was a few artists I was like, I don't know who this person is. So I had to kind of just make some judgment calls by, doing my due diligence. And
If I don't know who they are, they're out.
yeah. Who are these young upstarts?
And we'd vote. We wouldn't know who the other person voted for, and I would just tally them up. And it worked out pretty good. They were all people, it's not like I got someone who didn't know any of these artists. They all, everybody was a little fluent, some more than others, but I wanted different opinions. I also wanted different experiences, not just old timers like us. I wanted, because, like all of us would go, oh yeah, Jack Kirby's been, he's done so much and he's, honored for this and that. I wanted people who just were judging it based on art. So I threw in some people whose tastes were different than us old farts.
Yeah.
It certainly showed it moved people along that I didn't think would move along.
True. I'm
also glad in a way that, it was not, oh yeah, I could see it right now. This person's going to go ahead. There were some upsets, that's for sure. And so I thank again the judges for taking time out of their day and voting.
Yeah, it was good because it was, like you said, different ages participating in it, different experience levels, different understanding of like the impact some people had in the industry. And, there was a lot of times where I was stunned. It's like, wait, what? Stunned by who made it through and then stunned by who didn't make it through. Obviously there's a few where it's like, I would like to have seen this one individual make it further along.
Well, I mean, and there was a wild card bracket where if you wanted to save a certain artist, you could only save one artist during the whole game, I guess. 112 artists, and you could save one. So it got real tough after a while. It's no surprise if you've heard the earlier ones that my favorite, George Perez, lost the first round.
Right out of the gates.
Right out of the gate. And who would have thought that,
Who, do you recall who he was up against?
I can look it up right now. First round, he was, I remember this guy, Brian Boland.
Oh, okay.
That wanker. He was,
well, yeah, very British. Oh, man.
Like, he whooped his butt, and I can't understand that. Personally, although looking at Brian Boland's art, I understand why people liked it better. Needless to say, there was a lot of saving. And then the wild card at the fifth round, they went head to head. So it was really weird. Now, I kind of wanted to use this time just to get a general feel of it and what we would do next time. But also, let's announce the winner, and then I want to follow through his rounds and see who he defeated. Of course, if you follow us on TikTok or on Facebook, you know who won already. It was John Byrne. And I'm okay with that. I think if anybody was going to beat George, I'm okay with John Byrne, because when I was growing up in the 80s, it was always those two that I collected books on. I probably have a ton of their books. And even to this day, if I see a John Byrne book, I'll pick it up. So I'm not too sad about it.
Now, let me qualify that a little bit. Where do you feel about his current work?
Well, from what I've seen, I don't mind his current work. He's not doing a lot of stuff right now. The last I saw, he was kind of drawing pages from an X-Men story. Like, what if he had continued on with his X-Men run? And his art was okay. I collected his last series that I know of, which was John Byrne. Yeah, it was John Byrne's X-Men. He did a 9-issue series in 2010 for IDW.
Oh, really?
With the X-Men, and I have those.
I thought he kept going back to that. I honestly was never like. I thought they were okay, but I was never really. I mean, I read I think the first story arc, but that was about as far as I carried it.
Yeah, really. The Next Men was good until the first 18 were good. And then right around when actually Hellboy was introduced, in those pages. He kind of lost steam and lost me a little bit. I think the first 12 were really good, kind of like Alpha Flight. It went into the direction of these characters were suddenly thrust into the limelight. It just lost its flavor after that for me personally. I'd rather have them have been secretive. And anyway, John Byrne, first round for John Byrne, he went up against Jacques.
Yeah, I think that one just more out of longevity and impact would have.
Yeah, I think even back then, I said if I had known the work, if Jacques had the resume that Byrne did, I think Jacques is a better artist.
Mm-hmm.
Byrne did so much historically. So, and then the second round, when it was 56 artists, I think that was a tougher bout. He went against Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, I mean, that is a difficult one because you think of all the stuff he had done with New Mutants. Just, boy, that is difficult. Even now, I would struggle with it because I love his work. Man,
Yeah,
because it's so distinctive. You can spot his stuff no matter what.
Well, and the thing is about Sienkiewicz is his art is still gorgeous. If he posts on his Facebook page, it's just beautiful work. He hasn't lost anything. If anything, he's gotten better.
Yeah,
just his painting and stuff. It's just he's a true artist, in my opinion. He could do and does non-comic book stuff, and it just looks wonderful.
Yeah. His likenesses, his consistency from even though he's got his style, he's able to draw whatever he wants to in that same style.
I mean, even if you followed another artist, let's see, who did Sienkiewicz start? First round, Sienkiewicz went against Kaluta. So
they both have that kind of distinct look to them, and they both did the Shadow.
And they both, yeah, right. So I mean, these were not easy choices.
No, that first round, I think, honestly, this whole thing, it almost became easier as it went along. Those first few were really difficult because it was knocking some big hitters right against each other, and then as it went along, you kind of were a little easier to pick.
Yeah, that first round took probably, I mean, it did take the most time, and I split it up into 4 different emails because there's just so many. I didn't want to overwhelm one person, with 112.
Yeah,
but
begin.
And it took forever to get back some of these emails. Not because they were slow. It just was hard, difficult choices. People had to think about it a lot. In the third round, John Byrne, eventual winner, up against Dave Stevens, who had just defeated Walt Simonson, which if it had been Simonson and Byrne,
dang it,
I would have
probably picked Simonson.
Yeah, me too. But Dave Stevens lost, of course, and maybe next bracket time that we do, I will try to put similar styles together. I don't know. I didn't want to put so much work. I wanted free for all. I didn't want to. Okay,
and that was part of the nature of it. It was a random.
I think the next time we do it, I'll throw in 112 or maybe new artists. Artists we hadn't gone through. I can think of a dozen that should have been on here already, but John Byrne in the 4th round when he went against Frank Cho.
Dang. Okay, that the dude can ink. Frank Cho can ink. He can draw. He can. Yeah, again, another artist, but a great comic book artist.
And it was a 5-4 vote.
Yeah.
That he won.
And unfortunately, some of it also had to do with contributions to the medium that may have even been outside of the art. I don't think Frank Cho has created any characters, or he may have written some scripts for some comics. I was a fan of his stuff since Liberty Meadow, and then he went over to Marvel and did stuff there, and it's it was okay. But I really, really preferred, his Liberty Meadows stuff more than his Marvel stuff, but he's continues to get better. But boy, that is a tough road to decide between Byrne and. I mean, if you went artist to artist and you didn't take into consideration any history, any open creativity, I would probably have gone Frank Cho instead. When you think about like revitalizing and really making Wolverine into a household name, that was really more Byrne, and all of the work he had done for relaunching Superman, whether he likes what he had done or not, that was him. So many other characters he helped create in the process. I think like the whole Alpha Flight, because of Byrne being Canadian, I think there was a little wanting something for homeland, so to speak.
His Superman is the Superman that I think of when I think, okay, this is how DC should do it. That wasn't perfect, but it's still the iconic Superman I have in my head.
Yeah.
He worked on New Gods, he worked on Doom Patrol, he did some Justice League.
Yeah, he had Legends kind of start off the whole revamp of Justice League, and I think, did Brimstone, that character, did he exist before that Legends comic?
Nope.
If it weren't for his West Coast Avengers, that's where the whole concept of Wanda and Vision having two kids. And then what happens if those kids were taken away from her?
Right, yeah.
I mean, that was how it got played out in the comics, was under John Byrne's tenure there on West Coast Avengers.
Do they get money for that or not?
No, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about, but it's just like, I watched this really interesting videos, this guy who does on YouTube called Comic Tropes. And the guy is super smart, knows a lot about comics, is very... solid information, but he was asking like, who created Deadpool? The Deadpool we actually know, and it's.
I think we've had this conversation before too.
Yeah, but it's just that concept.
Not Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, he made up a look that was kind of a Spider-Man with a Deathstroke knockoff. But the smart aleck, the healing factor, all that other stuff came about, and then you down the road through these other artists and writers, and I was like,
Joe Kelly.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, at what point can you give the credit? It's like it's somebody decided like, I killed the animal, but it's like, yeah, but you didn't make the hamburger out of it, kind of a thing. It's like, you decided you're going to eat it, but you didn't actually make the hamburger. Somebody else came up with the hamburger. And that, it just seems like that's down the line a ways and removed from the source of where it is. That it's like, how do you lay claim to it? Because I was even like, and I don't begrudge, the creators of Superman, and I don't want to discount this, that they got ripped off to begin with way back when.
Because they did.
Yeah, that's the historical fact at that point. But Superman didn't fly. He didn't have supervision. He didn't have super breath. Kryptonite, Jimmy Olsen, all those things came from the radio show. That was not part of the, when you think of Superman and you think of all his vast powers and stuff, Superman was strong and could leap buildings and was fast. A lot of the backstory, the Daily Planet, Perry White, all that stuff came from, because I think originally it was the Daily Star was this, the newspaper that they had him working for, and it wasn't Perry White. All those things came from the radio show. So it's like, can you say that what you know as Superman really came from Siegel and Schuster, or is that somebody else?
Right. Well, I have no problem with Liefeld's name on the creation of the goal. But I do think there should be additional names. Show that the things that stuck after the creation that you know of, that you're famous for, it wasn't from just him. It was, it's the same, comics are weird. They have creator issues. They have first appearance issues. Oh, that's not the first appearance of Wolverine. It's actually the next issue where you see his full face.
Yeah.
No, but he showed up in the issue before. Wouldn't that be the first appearance?
Yeah.
No, it's not. We call that a cameo, not really a first appearance.
First cover appearance is
Right.
different.
No, he shows up. That's an appearance, right? By definition. It's just weird. People decide the strangest things. They like to change history for no reason. Comics just has its oddities. Certainly, they've screwed over creators wrongly throughout history.
Oh yeah, Bill Finger.
And they should be paid appropriately, or their descendants should. The way you know Deadpool, the way you know Superman, it changes over time. Even Batman, was not the original what he looked like back then. It morphs, it changes. DC revamps every 3 years, and it's slightly different, but not really. And it's just it's a strange beast. I'm not sure they're ever going to get it right.
And again, none of these would exist if it weren't for the big corporations actually footing the bill. It's like, yeah, you might have come up with this really cool idea, but if they're not paying for the production and the printing, distribution, it's like, some of this stuff is work for hire. You kind of knew it going into it.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of a bummer that it's work for hire, because you don't, especially back then, you didn't know the impact those characters were going to have 50 years later.
Yeah.
There was no way you could see Superman 50 years later being the iconic character that he was. You're just trying to survive, feed your family, and came up with this idea that might work and went with it. So you should have down the line regained some control or something, but no, nobody knew where these were going. Back to John Byrne, or not.
Yeah, so who else did he go up against?
After he defeated Frank Cho, John Byrne went valiantly against Frank Frazetta.
Oh, again, another, oh boy.
Classic artists. Maybe next time I'll leave out those classic, iconic artists like Mobius and Frazetta, and just those people that are beyond, Toth, they're just iconic, culturally impactful. And just go with the strict old comic book artists. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, Frank Frazetta is still the definitive Conan, the definitive any of the Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff, Robert Howard stuff. He did the Chronicles of Amber cover.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like, man, yeah, some amazing work.
I almost think yes, he did some great comic book work, but I almost think he's, I don't know, he belongs in a museum piece. He's the Ark of the Covenant of comic artists. He's special. If Frazetta sat down and drew something next to John Byrne, and they both did their very best, I would have no doubt that Frazetta would kick Byrne's butt, in the artistic cover sense of just colors and art and wow factor.
Yeah.
Byrne could do a Superman, but Frazetta could draw a landscape,
Yeah, all in all, just the top. Yeah, the Frank Frazetta Museum, it does exist. We actually saw a traveling show that came through South Bend, and it had pulp magazine and pulp publication art, and it had a few Frank Frazetta originals. So I was like, man, that's some good stuff.
It's right next to the John Byrne Museum, though, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And that defines it right there. You could have a museum based on one work, and you'd have to say it's a comic book museum and the other one. You'd have to.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be enough to sustain itself on just John Byrne's art. But Frank Frazetta's, yes. His book publication, illustrations, his weird fantasy, all the EC comic work he had done, I think he even worked on like early Mad magazine stuff. I'm not 100% certain on that one, but I feel like there was some. I know like Wally Wood was in on that.
Yeah. And then Byrne went up against the powerhouse in round 3. He went up against comic book artist Alex Ross.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that could have been a flip of the coin.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more towards the John Byrne on that one.
Not Alex Ross fan.
His stuff is beautiful, and he is a amazing craftsman.
I hear he did Kingdom Come. We liked that.
We love that title.
We love that.
I don't know. I just Byrne's got better plotting and better pacing of his books and better layouts, but
I don't disagree with you on that.
Yeah, Alex Ross can make amazing work, but it's not as solid, and an enjoyable a read. There's been too many times where I've looked at like Alex Ross's Justice series and was completely confused as to like, what am I looking at? Where am I supposed to go from here? What panel? Because his panel layouts are just like he's almost winging it. It's just like, this will look engaging. And it's like, no, it just doesn't tell the story well.
But again, I could see a Ross museum. Like there's the level of maybe it's a painters versus pencilers. I'm not sure in my head, but like his paintings all seem exquisite. It's when he has to tell a story.
Yeah, put it in
beyond one panel.
And I will, rake me over the coals for this one, but to me, a lot of it can be summed up by that one Academy Award poster he put together that was just not good at all. Like, the composition of the thing was just like, I just wanted to paint this thing, and then I got distracted, so I went over to this part of the picture and decided to paint something over here, and then I got distracted again, and I'm now painting something over here, and it's like this stuff is just all over the map without it being really any sense of like, what am I supposed to focus on? Where's the center of this stuff supposed to be?
Defeating Alex Ross, he went up against the ultimate artist from the wild card battle. George Perez turned it around, survived the wild card battle. Let's see, who was in the wild card battle? Here's who Perez dominated: Stuart Immonen, Darwin Cook, Jack Kirby, Sam Keith, John Romita Sr. Interesting mix there. Those are the 6 artists that the judges decided to save. I randomly tossed them in a hat, and it was 2 on 2 on 2, and then pick your favorite out of the 3 winners there. Perez wins it just to go against our lovable John Byrne and lose.
I made it, guys. I made it. Done.
George just wanted to skip all the headache of the other 7 rounds, and get to the end. So I understand that. I was surprised when Mr. Perez beat Jack Kirby in the round of Wild.
Yeah, that is a big surprise.
And for that, it wasn't even close. Like Perez I think maybe people were trying to suck up to me maybe a little bit. I don't know.
If you want to be in the next one, you better get it right this time.
Right. If you don't want me to butcher your name, you better have George win. So it was a close battle for Romita Sr., Darwin Cook, and Perez, but Perez moved on to the final round, got beat by John Byrne, which I think, in the 80s, a lot of people were comparing the two to each other. Anyway, so it was kind of the poetic end to the Babe brackets, and John Byrne pulls it off. I wish John Byrne was still doing a monthly comic or a series. Now, I haven't looked up on any of his pages. Maybe he is. I don't know. I think he's retired. I think he's he's just enjoying life. Maybe he's doing cons. I'm not sure. I haven't seen his name on anything.
Yeah, it's just not the draw, but there's a lot of them that are that way, where it's like, man, you guys were great at one point, and what happened? Where did they go? Other industries scoop them up? Did they decide that this was just too much and they weren't really wanting to do this stuff anymore, or they had better things in mind?
I think at a certain age, they're done drawing interiors, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's some great comic artists out there, and you just wonder, it's like, what happened? The Travis Claris of the world. They were so like top of the game, and then just poof. So enough's enough, and left.
I'm looking up John Byrne right now. And here he is. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Howdy, folks.
Let's look him up, and I'll edit out all this stuff. He's got a web page. Byrne Robotics, the official John Byrne website.
Yeah, it goes back to that weird robot he was drawing back in the 70s, mid-70s, when he was doing stuff for Charlton Comics, I think.
He was born in 1950.
Dang, so that'd make him basically 74.
Yeah, I did Sensational She-Hulk, did The Thing, did some Iron Fist.
Oh, that's right. He did the Power Man Iron Fist. They had that.
Star Trek, Namor, Alpha Flight. I forgot his Wonder Woman, Incredible Hulk. He did quite a bit.
I mean, he at one point, I think he was saying that he wound up basically more or less having drawn at that time, I think every Marvel title, at least an issue of, he had done, because he was doing art on like Marvel Team Up and 2-in-1 and even those like off, titles as well.
Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch.
What?
I don't know. We did 3 issues of Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch. New Teen Titans, so annual 2. Yeah, that doesn't count. Superman True Brit. I don't remember that at all.
Nope.
He did 32 issues of Namor.
I think Jay Lee kicked in like right after he did.
9 issues of Marvel 2-in-1. Bunch of team ups. Jack Kirby's Fourth World, which I just got all of them.
Yeah, even Simonson wound up doing some Fourth World stuff. So it's kind of one of those, like, I wouldn't call it badge of honors, but it's like rites of passage, I think is a better way of phrasing it, where it's just like, if you really want to be anything in the comic industry, you better have done some Kirby's Fourth World stuff.
Generations. 3.
Oh, yeah, my son picked all those up.
Looks like his biggest run was Fantastic Four, that's for sure.
Yeah, even outdid his X-Men?
Looks like he did like 42 issues of Uncanny, a lot more Fantastic Four. Yeah, he did 209 with some breaks to 293.
Yeah, I think there was something about him trying to catch up to Kirby's record on Fan 4.
Yeah, and Uncanny, he did 108 through like 143, and then he did a few after that. But big Fantastic Four. I have all those Fantastic Fours. We should review them. Oh, wait, did we already? Yeah, we did.
We did a segment. It was kind of a almost random
Galactus encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And is it terrible to say I don't really remember it?
Yeah, there was I don't know, it was kind of a mixed bag because it had so much that was clearly ongoing story, but then he threw in a couple random issues in there of these shorter stories and then one-off issues. So it's kind of in that cusp of like, here's where comics went from being you can pick up an issue at random to, if you miss an issue, you miss some of the story.
In my memory, John Byrne did Superman for years. Like the build up and all that, the Man of Steel 6-issue miniseries. But in reality, he did the first 22. Yeah. Like he did 2 years worth, and then he was out.
Yep, thanks, I'm out.
So it's crazy how I think one thing, like he was instrumental. He did it for years. He made Superman the way he was, but no, he made the he laid the groundwork, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's like even his Alpha Flight run, he had done that for a while, and I think he wanted to do the Hulk, so he kicked Mignola off of the Hulk title he was on. And then Mignola went over to Alpha Flight. They switched titles. And then Hulk, I think he was on Hulk for like less than a year, and he was done with that title too. And then that's when he brought to do Superman. prolific for a long time. So I don't blame him if he's retired or just wanting to do his own thing. But man, yeah.
Looks like, he hasn't done much since 2010, which was the Next Men stuff.
And that's all creator owned. He's got complete say over what's happening with it. No one's going to be able to editorialize and drop anything off of what he wanted to do with the characters. Got a lot of freedom in that. But interesting, he went over to IDW, not back to Dark Horse.
Yeah.
I wonder if the royalties are different or what makes IDW more appealing than Dark Horse.
IDW is probably in a stronger position right now than Dark Horse was.
Yeah, Dark Horse always seems like they get like really close to hitting it big and then it goes away. Because they had that Legends imprint where you had like Hellboy was in it, you had Sin City, you had Byrne's Next Men, you had Monkey Man and O'Brien, Mike Allred's Mad Men. It's like, dang, Dark Horse was really top of the heap. And then it just kind of all poof. The Hellboy kind of overstayed his welcome, and then Sin City ran out of steam, and he was done with those stories, and Next Men stopped, and Monkey Man O'Brien and Art Adams never really able to do more than a few issues at a time. So it just kind of all died on the vine. And I think even Concrete was just a limited run.
Yeah, I think maybe Dark Horse was imagining a more regular output from them, and it just didn't happen.
No.
If you could choose a different artist to have won the Babe brackets out of the ones that were running around, who would you have picked? You know who I would have picked.
Oh, yeah. There's been no secret as to who you would have picked. I got to go back to Alex Toth. It will always be, just because of how much influence my entire life without even knowing who it was, Alex Toth had on it. From creating Space Ghost, working on Johnny Quest, the Super Friends. I got introduced to superheroes through the Super Friends. I didn't get comics that early in my life. I got the Super Friends cartoons. And then, the rarely seen the Fantastic Four that Hanna-Barbera had done. That was all Alex Toth design work. And and then looking at his comics later on and just realizing this guy understood the medium so well. Very few people... Like if you took the colors away from most comics today, with the exception of like somebody like a Gene Colan who had a beautiful brushwork on his inking, the comics would not hold up. It looked like a coloring book. But Alex Toth knew how to use shadow amazingly well, knew how to keep your image focused, and understood how to draw anything. I would pop him at the very, very top of the list if I had my druthers. Alex Toth has a series of books that, wasn't, obviously he didn't create them, but they were based on his work, tremendous volume of work, but it's all like, Genius animated, Genius illustrated, and Genius isolated. His superheroes looked like superheroes. His regular civilians looked like regular civilians, not like there's superheroes in blue colored pants, that are just barely any semblance of like, oh yeah, jeans work this way or pants work this way. Alex Toth's Zorro was, it's so good. You look at any of his stuff he did for the Creepy magazine, any of the stuff he did for, I believe it was Hot Wheels comics he had done. Yeah. The guy could draw anything at all. In fact, the other day I came across, he even did the freaking advertisement artwork for Underoos.
Jose Garcia Lopez.
Yeah, just right up there. But I put it like, whereas Jose Garcia Lopez is so good and consistent, but he's so good and consistent at a good comic book look. I will always associate DC Comics with Garcia Lopez because of superpowers. The superpowers, I have the style guide art. I've got all that stuff, solid stuff, but Toth just knew the medium so well Like if Garcia Lopez were to draw Zorro, it would look like a superhero version of Zorro, if that makes sense. Whereas Toth was able to capture like that looks like the actor from the Disney Zorro series, and these looked like they were just like there could be book illustrations as well as comic book. Mm-hmm. And then there are moments where he was able to like in 5 lines capture how the character should be done. His Batman and the like anything like I even went as far as buying those Batman black and white purely for the reason of getting Alex Toth's like 1-page, 2-page drawings in it. And it's like, this guy worked with basically every animation company out there, and then amazingly cantankerous. So he was even more outspoken. Going back to the Super Friends, growing up, we would get comics so infrequently that I would get those treasury editions because I thought that was a better value for my money. One of the treasury editions I had was the Super Friends comic. And in the back, I had Alex Toth explaining how animation is done. And I gobbled that crap up.
Yeah, that's the only Toth I own.
Yes. Beautiful stuff. Fantastic. His proportions, his people, everything was like you could not have seen a better illustrator, better comic artist, more just like, I mean, like you think about Batman Year One, David Mazzucchelli's work. I can clearly see Alex Toth's influence on every bit of that. How much influence this guy had on the industry, on myself growing up. I cannot lavish more praise on this guy.
What you're saying is the second best comic artist in this list after George Perez.
Yeah.
It's so strange to me how much you praise him, and I know only what basically I know what you've told me about him. Like for some reason he was never on my radar. I lost out on. I mean, sure, I know as you mentioned things. Yep, I watched that. I saw that. Just didn't know anything about the origins of it. Certainly a gap in my comic book history I need to fix and kind of study, see what all the hoopla is about. And it's not that I don't doubt the things you're saying. I just found out who Jack Kirby was. I mean, come on.
Don't ask me more than that.
Crazy how much history I don't know because I followed other artists. I went a different route. I praised George Perez so much that I kind of focused on the few. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of artists I love. Toth wasn't on my radar.
No, and that's the sad thing. Like I said, without even knowing who he was, there's still so much impact. Because, like I said, everything from Johnny Quest. If I said what was my favorite cartoons, Space Ghost, Johnny Quest, Herculoids. That whole Hanna-Barbera era of Galactic Trio, Super Friends from Hanna-Barbera, all of those things is yep. Those were ones that I loved. And it's yep, Alex Toth had complete impact on every single one of those. It's oh, that's the common factor between them all. And then it's oh yeah, and he also did a crap ton of comic books. And he's insanely opinionated as a person. He got along with no one.
He was eccentric.
Yes. So, I mean, there's stories upon stories upon stories, and it's just brilliant stuff. And you're just amazed, when you think about this guy was able to do so much. But like you said, if you were not familiar, then you would never know how much of an impact he, was on the industry. It was just one of those things where it's so much behind the scenes stuff that you're oh, that's right. I didn't think about that. Oh yeah, that's true. But if you just did a quick Google search, you'd be huh. But if you typed in Alex Toth character sheets or whatever, you can see his design concepts for anybody from the greatness that is Apache Chief to, his various Superman incarnations and yeah.
Nick Chalk.
Yeah. What was, I think it's called Super Samurai. What?
Quasimi no Nehayaku.
Which is you wonder if anybody in Japan was what the heck is that?
Did he just swear at me?
But yeah, it's like dumb American kids.
Right.
Yeah, loosely translated into.
Still don't know what it means, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, they had their little trigger words. Oh man. But there was, like I said, those cartoons, even though they were like Marvin and Wendy with Wonder Dog, and then they went on to Zan and Jaina, but it was like those were my introduction to a lot of those characters. You know, I had no idea about the Green Lanterns. I knew obviously Batman and Superman, but it was really like Green Lanterns, Hawkman, who? You know.
I mean, they did improve with Zan and Jaina. I mean, sorta, but it wasn't a clear-cut winner in my opinion.
Because the whole concept of a monkey that always had a magical bucket, the dude turned into a water, and then she turned into the eagle and carried them around. It's like she basically carried the team because as an eagle carried Gleek physically, and Gleek carried the bucket that had Zan in it because he couldn't go anywhere on his own. And it's like she should have just left him behind. It's like, go play your video games. I gotta save the universe.
Now I really want to role play some old 80s cartoons.
So FAS had created the Masters of the Universe role-playing game in the 80s. Possibly the single most convoluted, unprofessional role-playing game ever. And it was like, there was no like how to make a character. There was like the magic powers. They just listed off magic powers, but they didn't explain how magic worked. So like, here's Orko. He's a magician. He can do these things. And you're like, okay, and it's just one word, disappear. And it's like, okay, but you know, and this was not one of those where it's like, you could get away with a game system if it was like, oh yeah, this is disappear. But then other things were super described. Like, if you have a strength of this, that means you can lift this much for this long. And here's the formula you'll need to know in order to figure out if you can lift or push or carry. And it's like, what? And, then the other things completely gone. Not a single thing in there. And you're like, this is terrible. One of the worst game systems I think I ever encountered. Right up there with the Indiana Jones game from TSR.
I never played that game. I saw it, and I know you had a copy of it, but did you ever play Indiana Jones?
I actually did. Did play it. And there was another game where they were so quick to try to come up with an RPG for it that they didn't have any sort of character creation process. There was, you played the characters up to, I think at that point it was Temple of Doom had come out. So you could get Short Round as a playable character. You could get Indiana Jones, Marion Ravenwood, and
Sala.
Yeah, it was just like, that was about it. That was the one that was infamous because...
Did you play Jock?
Jock? Yeah, that's just... And his pet snake, Reggie. They actually had a postcard-size insert that said, oops, we goofed on the magic spells. When you read over the character record cards, you'll find that there are spells listed that do not appear in the magic spells table. These spells are for an advanced version of Masters of the Universe and are not used in this game. So then why would you include it? And it's like, Masters of the Universe Advanced role-playing game should be released in the fall of 1986. Never did. To make sure you are informed of the release of this game, please fill this out.
Oh, you should fill it out.
Oh, yeah, I think, send it on in and see what they have to say. But yeah, the game itself was so terrible. It was clearly they had no idea what they were doing. They were just like, let's just go ahead and say this. Okay, let's say that. Why not? I will applaud that they actually tried to make the instructions like comic book based. You kind of read the comic book and that kind of explains some of the core mechanics of the game, but it was still pretty terrible.
So what was the best roleplay adaptation to a popular show or movie then? Let's take Star Wars out of it.
Yeah, because they've had, I don't know what, like 8 different incarnations of...
was there a good game, role-playing game based on a property that wasn't Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know because I'm thinking of
I
like,
hate to put you on the spot, but
yeah,
the first
like
one
they
that
did
popped
like
into my mind.
a Men in Black RPG. They did Ghostbusters a couple of times. They've done.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters one is what popped into my mind. Our mutual friend Dana had the game, and we played it a couple times, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And it felt very movie-like. The role-playing game itself is astronomically expensive on eBay, so I could never own it. But I did enjoy that interpretation of it.
The James Bond role playing game was pretty good. It just kind of depended on who's jumping in on it. The Alien from the Free League. Now, I've read through the instructions. I can't say that I actually have sat down to play it. Really captures the whole like space, the alien xenophobe and the terror that's out there in the dark. And
That sounds like it'd be fun for like a one-shot.
yeah, it's not meant for a long term, like years of campaigning. It's like if you survive the game, then that's more than what they thought you were going to get. Bond game, I thought did well. I'm not a big percentile fan because there's like, it's not just because of math taking forever, but it's like there's something about like, okay, I get 80% of the time I make my shot. And you're like, really?
You're that good of a shot?
Yeah. And it just seems like it was a little too heavy on the, because they had like your primary chance and then your ease factor, and there's some other things. But I think the James Bond game was what introduced like the hero points.
Yeah, I think
First
so.
game
That
that
was the
had
first.
that where you could just kind of throw in something for like an automatic success.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing that game. We played it probably for, I don't know, half a year or something at one time. So many quotable things in that game that would be lost in translation. We had a lot of fun with that.
The Lord of the Rings stuff, there's been so many iterations of that.
While I played the ice version of that was one of the first games that I played over at the Shaws when I was a wee lad. I can't say the game system itself worked very well. Overly complicated, probably, back then. Roll to breathe almost kind of thing.
Yeah. Too much going on.
The Amber certainly was a great.
Yeah, I love the concept that was diceless. So it was just basically whoever had the higher stat. And then if you could explain why you might have had some advantage over that person who may have been higher than you.
I didn't think I'd like that system at all. Like you bring the dice out of a role-playing game. I'm like, well, what's the point then?
Yeah, you're going to win all the time or you're going to lose all the time.
Yeah, we played that game to death. And, it worked out. It was us focusing on role-playing and
just storytelling.
And just a ton of fun. Everybody got into their character and had backgrounds and like just were all in for when it occurred. It just was the right game at the right time kind of thing.
And it was also, I mean, we all had read the novels, so the familiarity helped too. So it wasn't like, you're walking in going like, explain to me, what is this? What are we trying to, what's the pattern? What's chaos? What's Rebma? What?
That's Amber spelled backwards.
That's a reflection of, hey guys. Just dawned on me. God, that's so good. The classics growing up.
Great. I don't know. Maybe we didn't play a lot of
not a lot of the licensed ones, and I know that there was other ones out there, but I think some of it was because it was so limited. A lot of those that were like, "Hey, this is going to be based on this," and it's like, "Well, if I'm not one of the main characters, then what am I doing?" It may have been a toy, but it never really made its way into the role playing game or the series. It's just in order for them to make money, the licensing fees just were too high. So it was just easier for them to make a game completely original without having to pay for a license. Well, we're fast approaching our 2-hour block.
Well, let me do the outro. So if you are interested in another round of Best Artist Brackets, let us know. Who would you put in there in the next round? Starting over, which artist did we miss? which artist deserves a second chance. In my head, we're gonna wait a while before we do another run. Maybe do it every other year kind of thing.
Yep.
But if it's asked for, we'll do it for you, the listener.
Yeah. And maybe we do a King of the Hill version where it's, we put up John Byrne and then we just throw artist after artist and see if who can unseat John Byrne from the previous one.
Yeah. Our webpage currently, and this is why I love comics podcast at .buzzsprout.com. Don't get me started on Spotify. That's a whole different. That's going on the Patreon. Email us at and this is why I love comics at gmail.com. You can join us on the Twitter or the X at and this is why L1. We're on the Facebooks and this is why I love comics podcast. The TikTok is still growing. Join us there. I post at least when a new episode is out, and I try to be funny, like normal. Support the show. Become a Patreon member. Learn all about things that we can't put on the regular feed. Thanks to all our supporters and friends of the show. We couldn't do it without you. Check out Jamie's YouTube show at J Hood Comics. Thanks to producer Tony, co-host Matt 2.0, Kevin, Jamie, Matt 10.0, producers Katie, and thanks to Nick as well. Thanks to Thunder Chicken for their tune. Check them out on Spotify. There's a link in the show notes. That's it for us, right, Mike? So for the podcast, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
We'll check you out next time.
Call me Juan Jimenez.
Juan Jimenez.
They call me Mr.
Tibbs.
Fake names. I would do that to my brother. I'd call him up, and he's in a public job that had like a front desk receptionist that would take the calls. And I'd say, "God, can I speak to James? May I ask who's calling?" And I would throw some totally random name. And it was just some of them were pretty much on the numbers where it's like, but the one that would get through unfazed was Tom Servo. And it's like, how the heck that doesn't, no one's named Tom Servo. My brother would go like, Tom Servo, huh? So the front desk would say like, hey, Tom Servo's calling.
Mr. Servo on line 1.
Mr. Tom Servo.
Simple things. What are things? I want to fly. I'm not afraid to die. Yeah, I guess all of you have felt almost all of them. These animals need to live. I know what you feel sometimes.
Now, are you still like the picture taking parent where it's like first day of school? Okay, here's what you guys dressed like. You got your brand new clothes on, brand new backpack, brand new pencil case, whatever. And then, they're waiting for the bus, or actually you have to drop them off. Sorry. But like, before they leave the house, you take a photo of them going like, oh, this is 2024.
I've never done that. Okay, maybe for my older 2 children, we